Happy Saturday, and welcome to the Ram Ashram Satsang Weekend Workshop, where you'll learn a modern Satsang method for obtaining peace, light, and love in your life. My name is Eddie, and I will be introducing the facilitator for today's event. But first, I'd like to give you a brief overview of this Satsang session. If you direct your attention towards your screen, you'll see the first element is Satsang. Satsang is a scientific method whereby we may obtain peace, light, and love in our life. It requires no physical skill, spiritual accomplishment, or meditation experience to begin its practice. Satsang consists of two words, Sat and Sang. Sat means positive energy, and Sang means to be with or to be in the presence of. Therefore, the word Satsang means to be in the presence of positive energy. The next element is meditation. Meditation is an important part of Satsang. When we meditate, we will draw consciousness from worldly objects and direct it inwards to focus on a single thought. In doing so, our minds become calm and our thoughts become pure, thereby allowing us to obtain higher states of consciousness, such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. Inner orientation. There are two types of satsang, inner satsang and outer satsang. An example of outer satsang would be chanting or attending pilgrimages. When we practice outer satsang, we have the potential to change our behavior, but only through the practice of inner satsang can we obtain higher states of consciousness, such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. The satsang that you will learn today is an inner satsang where we meditate in silence. Group session. These weekend workshops are structured for group participation. When we meditate as a group, our focus is improved and our personal progress along our spiritual path is expedited. By regularly attending these weekend workshops, the benefits of group participation are amplified. Joy and inner happiness. All beings wish to experience joy. Joy is the eternal longing of the soul. But only through the practice of inner satsang can we obtain a joyous state. Each time we practice satsang, our inner happiness gradually increases, ultimately culminating in a state of joy, which we experience 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The agenda for today consists of 3 sessions: the informative session, the practice session, and the interactive session. During the informative session, a lecture will be given about a satsang topic, the founder, or some relevant spiritual topic. During the practice session, you will receive instructions on how to meditate, followed by a period of practice. During the interactive session, you have the opportunity to ask questions, or there'll be a panel discussion. And now, I'd like to introduce the facilitator for today's event. He has over 40 years of satsang experience. He's the grandson of Guru Maharaj, the founder of Ram Ashram Satsang. He was born into a satsang family where he experienced his family members obtain states of enlightenment and lead lives of peace, light, and love. At an early age, he began traveling with the mission throughout India, facilitating satsangs. And during that time, he witnessed the positive effects that satsang could have on mankind. And upon arriving to the United States, both he and his wife continued to facilitate satsangs for local satsangees. He has led teams of satsang members in translating important satsang literature into English and has worked tirelessly to make satsang more accessible to Western and English-speaking audiences. He currently travels throughout the United States, India, and England, facilitating satsangs while maintaining his duties as a husband, a father, and an IT executive. Today, he will teach us a rare and ancient form of satsang as taught by Guru Maharaj. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Sanjeev Kumarji.
So happy Saturday, everyone. Today I have been thinking about a topic which we can almost think of. It's in a way it is a bit advanced subject, but then if you look at it, it's something to think about for everyone. Are we here for just calming our mind, or there's more to it? And concentration, better decision making, integrating satsang and meditation, definitely would help overall wellness. But then, there always have been uh, extreme paths where, you know, you become totally materialistic or you become totally service oriented and dedicated to enlightenment, self-realization, etc. Um, so, but the question then is there a middle path? Um, and, you know, um, even for people in India who have been practicing this method for decades and who have read, lots of um, books and, the journals that Guru Maharaj published about how to create this meditative lifestyle, a more holistic lifestyle. So he does talk about, so there are two paths, actually, three paths. So one is the materialistic approach, the path of materialistic success with little or less focus on sadhana, satsang, meditation, spiritual practices, etc. And then there is this path of, leaving this materialistic world. In India, it's called vairagya, or, so path of vairagya, or focus only on sadhana, satsang, religious and spiritual practices, and dedicate yourself to the church, join a monastery, you go to the Himalayas, you sign up into an ashram, and so on and so forth, right? So two extremes. But then, can you be materialistic in the sense of you're doing worldly duties and still focused on your spiritual progress? And you are spiritual, but still, materialistic in the sense of, if anybody looks at you, you are, quote unquote, a good citizen. And this path is what Guru Maharaj, prefers, where the path for success in materialistic world as well as spiritual world gives you more flexibility, in the sense that, I mean, if I look at my family tree, so my grandfather onwards, um, there were times when folks decided to really travel a lot for satsang, help others in many, 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 many different ways, and that becomes a priority. And sometimes, like, uh, kids' education, your own career, your own education becomes important. So while you're still um, connected to the path and the spiritual progress. And so as I was growing up, I never thought it was either or. Instead, what I was told was that you could potentially achieve success in both. The only problem is that when we take the path 3, which is, it can be confusing in the sense that if I take the path 3 and then decide to, not be very connected, or, the practice dwindles, or my food habits, or my practice, or other things become, sometimes distractions come and it becomes lower and lower and lower priority. Or you go to the other extreme where, you are so much into the practice that you don't focus on, the family duties or work, and this would happen. And actually, I'm right now, there's so many examples that come to my, I literally can visualize or recall what I have seen. So, um, so for path one, concentration, better decision making, better health, um, and even blessings, or acquired peace through satsang or guru's company, and some of the benefits can be easily achieved, and that is good enough for a whole lot. So I have seen people who would come once a year to, and I'm going back to India, and big congregation, very peaceful, very deep meditation, very effortless. Um, so they come, they enjoy, and go back to whatever they were doing. I know lots of people who do that, right? And for the path two folks, satsang and sadhana can become a very, very heavy focus, can provide a more effective and efficient method for spiritual progress. They stay at home or in ashram. It is the state of mind where priority is clear, focus is singular, material success and material things are of little consequence. Detachment becomes the name of the game. But path three, you know, family duties, job related stuff, other activities that either related to bringing food to the table, earning money, etc. So, um, if path two, which is like focus on the spiritual progress becomes more dominant, so that flexibility is there. And sometimes more materialistic focus is required, and that becomes more dominant. So what Guru Maharaj said was that there are times, even when you are in a monastery, I have, um, you know, um, read and listened to podcasts and YouTube channels. People sign up for the monastery, and then they find that anger out of nowhere just becomes so overly consuming, and there are other things that would happen. And it's like sometimes people feel like, oh, should I give this up or should I stick around? And then, in those waves, and we have talked about the three states, the positive, negative, and the blend. And one of these three being dominant energy within drives our behavior. And hence, there are times when the negative takes over. It will. I mean, there is no one I know, even some of the very accomplished, very, I mean, quote unquote, like self-realized people that I have, enjoyed the company of. They also, they still have those emotions, more in control, more balanced, more regulated, but they still get those moments. And what happens is that sometimes those moments stay, and it becomes, days, weeks, months, and even years. I know someone who be very dedicated, very focused on spiritual progress, very blessed, very and everything. And there were years of anger, and literally super duper all consuming anger. And we have talked about this, and almost like angry on everything. Eventually they forgot and forgave and somehow came out of that, and that's probably a blessing in itself. But those phases come, and when you are in path 2 and you have signed up for being in an ashram or monastery or in the church, and you are not really helping that environment, you don't have that flexibility. So in path 3, uh, you know, uh, you could be somewhat more flexible. I mean, the harm of negative influences would happen to yourself and your environment anyway, and that we see all the time. So path 3, people can be uh, the light in darkness that path 1 sometimes can bring. They can be the voice of reason, source of peace, provide selfless love in this dog-eat-dog world. Path 3 people can sometimes be more successful than path 1 folks. And this is interesting. And this is while materialistic success is not. So I just actually I recorded a video on chasing after material things. So I recorded a video with my daughter and just released it on the YouTube channel. So materialistic success is not the core focus in path 3, but then if you are in that path, and if you are righteous, if you are doing things that are upholding your values and helping others, there are chances that you could be very, very successful even from materialistic terms. But that's not the primary goal for them. To achieve the ocean of peace is still their focus. And eventually, so what I have found is like spiritual progress eventually gets to a point where you would not progress till you help others. So, love, peace, joy, inner strength, knowledge, all that becomes you. So, I mean, I can go on and on. I intend to take this subject and really take a deep dive, because at the end of the day, it's like I think about, if there are people who have chosen the path already of service, and there are people who are just eat, drink, and be merry, but we're here because we think that there's more to it, or in the sense that we want to have more peace in life. We do want to focus on inner and outer strength. But do we really believe that we can continue to integrate in the normal society and still uplift ourselves to a higher ground, and even, be self-realized? And I mean, based on what I have observed, I mean, this can give you the basic advantages of a meditative system and a meditative lifestyle, but it also can take you all the way there to the target state where peace, light, and love is in abundance. So on that note, let's practice, because that's what would make the progress um, towards a higher ground. So, eyes lightly closed, a relaxed and still posture, and think and observe this transcendental energy in form of light right here, right now. Feel the presence, connect to it. And this light is then entering your heart and distributing throughout your body, and you're getting completely and totally, immersed in this light. Mind wanders away, which it will, just bring it back to this thought and this thought alone, that this transcendental energy in form of light is entering your heart, distributing throughout your body, and you're becoming one with this light. We'll start with music that helps concentration, and then music fades away and we go deep into silent meditation. And then our consciousness is just, a result of deep and, consistent practice. So we'll start now. Happy Saturday, everyone. Glad that we're here in Satsang. It's a interesting topic today. A lot of people who have been in it for a while, progress very materialistic. So you are in path 3, but you want to measure it by path 1 measurements. That causes a lot of confusion to the younger people. So I thought I'll pick that up and maybe another deep dive around Guru Purnima, which is Guru's Day, July 21st, but I'm having a weekend festivities or 5 meditation sessions on the weekend of the 26th. So 26th, 27th, 28th. Yeah, I was thinking of a flyer in my head. It's like, yeah, come join me for a meditation in my basement. So I'm in that mode now. I'm actually test driving some meditation chairs now. So just another tidbit. So what's on your mind? Any thoughts, questions, comments? So Angela, an iPhone Porsche. Wow. Not sure if it's Karen or someone else. Paula, Rich, Eddie, anything?
Hate when the teacher calls on me.
No, you have been quiet. It's like
Because every subject you bring up is complex, right?
yes. This one I am telling you, and I'm not kidding. It's lately I have talked to some younger people, and my goodness, I mean, even after long conversations, I don't think the message actually passed through. It's so complicated.
Yeah, because they can't process what they haven't had the experience to understand, right? Basically. You got to have you got to live through some things to
Yeah.
earn the perspective. Um, you know, I
No,
don't.
see, the thing is that we're living a normal life and we want to progress spiritually, meditative perspectives, etc. But then if we keep competing with people who are, by hook or crook, want to be materialistically successful, right? I mean, that's like a recipe for disaster in my view. It's like, uh, if you are forthright, and even if you're not, let's put aside meditation for a while, and if we just say, if you stick to your values, your path is not bed of roses, right? Because there are people who make shortcuts, people who would step on other people, people would do even harm, throughout the world. I mean, people take shortcuts to materialistic success.
Yeah, you're not rewarded for good behavior in the corporate workplace,
And we have seen that, right? It's like we have seen that day in and day out. It's like, for better bonus for yourself, I was actually watching the Boeing CEO being grilled
Yeah, I saw
here
that.
in Washington, and I am telling you, his face was like, "Are you really asking me this question?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
am supposed to get millions,
Mhm.
and I'm supposed to get more money for the, stakeholders, shareholders, and what do you want me to do?" That was so, it was like unbelievable. But you do the right thing in that place, you are saving lives too. If you don't, not only you will put yourself in that hot seat, but the lives at stake, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, so see, the thing is, like, when I look at the C-level people, they are empathetic. They are very, very value oriented. They can articulate things like, even uh, hard to, find that level of well articulated, uh, you know,
Polish.
uh, right? But because they're driven by bottom line, there are things that happen. So one of this, writings my grandfather said is like, talking the talk is great, but if you don't act accordingly, if you don't, so, that needs strength. And that is where the disconnect usually is.
That the disconnect and internal conflict as a result, right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Um,
It's like Shakespeare. You keep washing your hands as though like that will clean your, acts up. But hey, it doesn't happen.
yeah, I don't even know what to say because it's also convoluted. You don't want to ignore your responsibilities and
Mhm.
have to play the game to an extent to
Yep.
pay bills and to be able to afford some.
See, actually playing the game can be done in multiple ways,
Sure.
right? Playing the game could be for your own advantage, one.
Mhm.
Playing the game could be for broader good. You're still playing games, but you are thinking more broadly for a broader good, right?
Mhm.
And then it could be playing games, but only for the country, for people, for
Mhm.
general well-being, right?
Yeah,
So when you're too self-centered, too selfish, or only working for a select few for your own clique, then it's a very narrow focus. Right?
yeah, and again, it's very individualized, right? Um, Everybody's got a certain orientation towards service to others and service to themselves. There's a book we read in high school,
Mm.
and I forget the name of it, but essentially it was a well-meaning politician who went into politics to help, right? And built a hospital, but took some shortcuts on the materials, right? So in theory, he was doing a very good thing. In the end, it collapsed and killed people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
the means are always important, right?
yeah.
Uh, yeah, and it's such a personal kind of internal calculus and journey for yourself, for everybody, depending on where you came from, right? Depending on your upbringing, depending on your orientation to things, depending how old you are, you can divine some of these things.
No, but at the end of the day, if you are helping, and working towards, uh,
Yeah, but what's your obligation?
yeah,
In other words, yeah, if I'm doing well,
it's like self-centered and self-focused versus broader good is like easily fathomable, and it's almost like I wouldn't say it's either or, but at least whatever culture, whatever, the nuances and the thought process may be different, but when you are serving others versus serving yourself, I think it's pretty clear.
Well, but like you say, I'll never forget, Nitin, right? I'll never forget walking up Sixth Avenue, and we were talking about Indian culture and just how spiritual they were, and in some cases, he said, "I wish they were a little bit less spiritual, a little less passive at times." Right? I thought that was an interesting comment because you could, you know, be a guru, whatever, right? And you're not necessarily serving everybody all that well, even your own, right? So you can, like you said in the beginning, you can find yourself down that path, but you're ignoring your responsibilities in other ways too. So what's the happy balance?
No. So I think that is another myth, or a see, when you are in the path or when you are not there, there are times when you are vulnerable, right? The like and not that everybody likes Gandhiji or Gandhi in India. He was a proponent of nonviolence, right? And I think Martin Luther King was also very um, uh, influenced by that thought process. His view was that nonviolence comes from the ability to tolerate and the inner strength that otherwise, um, you know, so until and unless you're spiritually strong, that won't come. So nonviolence is stronger sometimes than people who, um, lean towards violence.
Yeah, I don't think I was talking about violence per se. I was just talking about
No, I'm just saying that you see what happens is that the path 3. So I don't want to kind of go on a tangent here, but I'm just saying, like, my father, last 15 years, all dedicated. He was professor in chemistry. He was helping PhD students and all of that, and but he decided to focus on not only his spiritual progress but others, and traveled. Last 15 years were all dedicated to spirituality. But through the years, he got me to study engineering. My brother's like doctor. So he through his progress in this route, there was no like shortcuts taken or ignoring this or ignoring that. You know what I mean? It's like it doesn't. So path 3, doing the path 3 right, is an art and science of its own. It's like I don't know. This is a very interesting subject. The more I think about it, like, see, you decided, okay, I'm going to the monastery and I live a life where I actually go out and food is given by others, right? It's humbling. It's a strength that you are now finding from within to be able to sleep on not so comfortable beds anymore, and so on and so forth, right? But when you take path 3, your goal is the same as the path 2, but the means, or your ability to take certain things from path 1 as well. So it's a blend of path 1 and 2. And that, how do you balance that is, I think, the most crucial. Mm. And yeah, but I get your point. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's life is happening too at all times, and knocking you down, and you gotta, you know, meditate, right? You gotta get right spiritually. I just meant from what when Nitin said that
no. See,
there's a predisposition potentially
yeah,
to
no, and
kind of move away,
no, I have seen that too. That sometimes people eat in India and otherwise, like if you are pursuing the spiritual path, would you pick up arms and fight for yourself and for your country or for your clan or whatever? Uh, that has happened too,
Yeah,
right?
that's a good point. And I would say even further, just, if you're sleeping on an uncomfortable bed, but you're not really helping others, maybe
Yeah.
that's treat of sorts.
Yeah. So then it's a moot point. Yeah.
So, and I guess it's very, very, very individualized. Everybody comes from a certain amount of experience, strength, personality, right? But there's no question that to the extent that you can, try to incorporate, ideally, the helping of others without ignoring your responsibilities. That's the idea. That's the most spiritually satisfying, right? And ultimately, what they're like the companies you give examples of earlier, right? That's the short-term path, right? Playing the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
The companies that run well from the top, because that's how it works.
Yeah.
We all know them. They rot from the top or they succeed from the top. And to the extent that they inculcate those proper values from the top down, it makes a huge, huge difference. And they do make positive differences. I mean,
Yep.
maybe not so
Totally.
much,
No,
maybe
I agree. Yeah, absolutely.
depending on your product, right? If you're making weapons, maybe less. But you know what I'm trying to say. I've seen that. I've seen that.
Totally.
Anyway, enough from me. Eddie, somebody else?
Yeah. Yeah. So any other things before we wrap up for today?
Oh, Sanjeev, my friend would be happy to help on the from the marketing thing that we discussed. Just wanted to tell you, I forgot to mention it.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll put that offline. Yep.
Yeah. So I am actually just so from that perspective, I'm working on the website back on that focus again. And believe it or not, I think there will be an app in a couple of months. So hopefully we'll see. So that will help as well. So Eddie, what's the wrap up for today?
It seems appropriate to have a method for the majority of people here on Earth. Um, a purely material path is very difficult to follow and not even available to many. And being part of the ashram and being a recluse is very hard to achieve as well when you have family duties and so forth. So, this is the path for the majority of people, and I think that it is a good path because it teaches us to value others and to improve our characters so that we bring more harmony into the world. And as we do those things, we achieve higher states of consciousness as well. And we get to test ourselves. And I think you alluded to that as well. I mean, you can learn things, but at some point you have to test yourself. In that testing ourselves in the society, we want to become better people, have better relationships, have more peace, um, and calmness and happiness and joyfulness and all of these things. So this path is conducive for that. And it allows us to develop, uh, or take advantage of what we call grace or guru. And so that's why this path, I think, for many is more preferable, because we take advantage of what I believe is, like, I don't want to say a crutch, but it's certainly a tool. And that's the tool called transcendental energy. So that's really what it's all about. It's about taking that transcendental energy and, instead of allowing it to go out through your senses, to turn it within and then use it as a, as a vehicle, as a push, to propel you upwards. And so the process that you teach today allows us to do that, to use that transcendental energy that's present and use it as a force to drive us up with the higher states of consciousness. And in doing that, we constantly fall back into our material ways, but we have to constantly turn back inwards and focus upwards to higher states of consciousness. And that's what we call pratyahara, and that's what we practice during our meditation. So that's what I got out of this today, and it just makes me feel, confident that I am in the right method for me, and that this will get me to the ultimate goal of the natural state of samadhi.
Yep, the Sahad Samadhi. Yep. Okay. All right. Thanks, Eddie, for everything. And I'm glad that we were here in Satsang. Hope you have a great week ahead. And let's be back in Satsang soon. And, till then, light, love, and peace be with you. Take care.